It's impossible to keep up with all this stuff.
I know. I know. Believe me. Brad, let me tell you how stupid I am. There was 15 seconds about a year and a half ago where I was like, I'm going to cover every new AI model release. Yeah. So that lasted, like I said, about 15 seconds. And, we covered the major ones, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a little tip of the AI iceberg, really.
Yeah, so the new hotness that I'm trying to understand, I know it's coming to Windows in some capacity,
Mm-hmm.
are MCP servers. So
Mm-hmm.
the best way to describe this, as I'm learning and starting to play with them in some minor capacity, is they're APIs,
Mm-hmm.
is what people who grew up in the 90s would say, or
Yeah.
in the 80s,
Yes.
or any time other than in the past 5 years. We call it an API. So it allows the AI agent to talk to a data repository at another company or another
Mm-hmm.
product or whatever through that interface.
I
And
mean,
so,
honestly, this is like that component programming model where you would expose public interfaces,
mm-hmm.
and that's the API you're referring to, the
Yep.
external part, and then you have whatever you're doing internally.
Yeah, they're a little fancier than APIs, I guess, because APIs are very binary for the like send string, get response sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a little bit more powerful than that.
Yeah, well, it is. It's the 21st century, Brad.
Yeah. So I started playing with some of these things, trying to connect things up, and yeah,
And,
like they work, sort
and
of, but when they don't work, like it's just as an example.
everything
So
you just said is true of all AI.
that is true. That is
When
extremely
you
true.
just think about
So
it.
yesterday, Claude or Anthropic, whichever it can, Claude, whatever that company announced
Yes,
a whole bunch of MCP server connections, and one of them is Canva. And so it's like,
right.
oh, this will be good. I can
Mm-hmm.
go into Claude, I can connect it up, I can describe what I want. It'll create the one pager that I need, and then I can go in and edit it. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot get this to work at all. It's like, can't find your document, can't find your thing. And then it just like, I'll just write it for you. And then it goes paste. Like it's just not working yet, even though they
Okay.
announced it. The one that's
This
interesting
this
most to me
makes me
is
want to kind of look at it now, but okay.
is they also did Notion. I'm afraid to connect it to Notion until I, because like if it goes in there and just starts blowing things away, that would be bad news bears. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Which actually, that's a good reminder that half of my life is in Notion, and maybe I should do an occasional export just to make sure I
yeah,
have the
just
data. But yeah, huh? Yeah. So MCP is part of a broader story about the weirdness of the AI era because these companies, the biggest companies especially, that want to get AI pushed through as fast as possible without any regulation and yada yada yada, are forced to work together because normally they would be competitive and not want to interoperate, but this is required to move this thing forward so fast. And so it's not really ironic, but the ironic outcome of this is that if it's all done according to description, you should be able to, as a Microsoft 365 customer in the future,
mm-hmm.
plug in ChatGPT or whatever AI instead of Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? Because these things should be, mostly or fully interoperable. I mean, we'll see what
It's a
actually
good
happens,
theory.
but
Like they're
well,
gonna work.
it's the theory. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they go that route and they let people to do it, but Copilot will.
Sorry.
Bless you. Yeah.
It's July, so it's been cloudy and rainy here, cold.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's been kind of it's those rainy seasons, technically
Yeah.
how it could be, but it not, usually isn't this much. Usually it gets rainy in the afternoon, sometimes at night, and that's about it. But it's been pretty. Haven't seen the sun too much. Yesterday, a little bit. It's not the Mexico people think, the flip flop, sand between the toes kind of Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, here we are. I don't know. Windsurf got acquired by Cognition. That has been a spaghetti of a
yep.
transaction that no one's ever going to remember or follow. But
Well, yeah. The good news there is just that when those, OpenAI was going to buy them and then didn't, and then Google gave them license money, licensed their technology. It took one of their co-founders and their CEO and some other researchers, right? And of course, the employees of the company are like, we were going to benefit from that other thing, what's going on.
Mhm.
So because they got purchased, part of the agreement is that existing employees at Windsurf, like their options are going to vest more quickly now, and they'll benefit financially from the transaction, which is good because I think they were kind of like standing there like when a couple of their guys left, but the rest of them were sitting there left behind. So
Yeah,
plus,
clearly they had a plan. Obviously, if it was announced this quick, it was like, okay, we're
oh
going
yeah,
that way.
there were two parts. Yeah, exactly. This is
We'll
the
go
second
this
half.
way, you go that way. We'll
Yep.
surf into the future and many
Yeah,
riches.
and I don't know too much about either of these companies, but looking at their products, Devon AI is vaguely familiar to me for some reason, but what they're doing is complementary to each other. So
Yep.
they're both parts of the same puzzle. So I'm not saying it's going to work, but it makes sense, as far as these things can make sense, I guess.
Anyways, Windows is getting an MCP server. It's in private preview. I'd love to get access to that somehow. That way I can
Yeah.
just totally wreck my day.
I mean, I'm sure it will just hit the insider program at some point. This must be like a 25H2 thing or whatever. I know they announced it at Build.
Yeah, it'll show up with Groove Music Maker and some of those other ones.